And so it was that a traveler ventured forth from her ruined home, intent on discovering the fate of a long-lost ancestor, ended up wandering into the wastes, and inadvertently changing the Commonwealth forever. With the catastrophic explosion at the CIT ruins signaling the destruction of the Institute, those who remained were quick to gather all that they could and flee the region. Some chose to stay in the Commonwealth to settle into new lives. Some even deserted to the Minutemen, letting go of the Institute. Their destruction marked a significant turning point for the region. Hostilities and paranoia decreased, allowing for a more tolerant environment in the Commonwealth. This, however, did not come without the cost of lives, invaluable technology, and knowledge, now lost to time. And so the Gunner War ended as it began, with a bang. With the defeat of the Gunners at Quincy and the atomic rain unleashed upon Province Bay, it wasn't long till the remaining Gunner leadership surrendered unconditionally to the allied groups of the Commonwealth United Front. After so many lives lost and settlements pillaged, it was the beginning of a new dawn for the region. The Commonwealth was saved, and together they would work towards a better future. Thanks to the Chief. Present during the Battle of Quincy, representing the press, as she called it, Piper Wright got to be the first one to publish an article. Instant hit. Thanks to initial support from the new mayor, Piper was able to forge a news empire out of public occurrences, hiring like-minded individuals as it expanded into the broader Commonwealth, becoming the voice of the Commonwealth. She was no longer alone in her fight. After the death of Mayor McDonnell, Diamond City's fate seemed uncertain. When elections were announced, what happened can only be described as an unprecedented wind of change sweeping over Diamond City, as the Ron information businessman was elected into the office of mayor by a landslide. Thanks to him, against all odds, Diamond City kept its relevance in a post-war Commonwealth, although not as shiny as it used to be. The Green Jewel of the Commonwealth had cool times ahead and is sure to play a significant part on its future with other settlements. Oh yeah. After the Ghoul Reintroduction Act at Diamond City, Good Neighbor and the Green Jewel underwent a sort of reconciliation. This, however, came at the cost of decreased traffic in the town. It was business as usual for Good Neighbor, until the Nightingale set up shop at the Memory Bin, and began to make use out of the local drug trade, and, in a way, legitimized it, making medicine a great part of the town's economy. Good Neighbor remained having an independent spirit, but also remained a crime hub in comparison to the rest of the changing Commonwealth. As a result, there have been multiple incidents involving the Commonwealth Police Department's attempts of establishing order. Although it is a bit chaotic, it's all good in Good Neighbor. After the victory at Quincy, all of the staff and department heads at GNN Plaza HQ celebrated for weeks, exclaiming "Hail to the Chief!" After that period though, it became clear to all involved that a lot of work had to be done. As preparations are made for a Commonwealth provisional government, there are plenty of disagreements of how things should be handled, but Jake Evans couldn't be more proud of how far they've come. After the battle, the Minutemen established themselves at the location. Together with HQ, they started the efforts of rebuilding and resettling Quincy. There were many Minutemen who wept with joyful tears when they saw the boat and the rifle waving proudly above Quincy. Once a monument to their failure and shame, now a monument to their victory and pride. Quincy was quickly settled and became an important and bustling part of the community that became the Commonwealth. A community which wouldn't have been possible without the brave men and women of this diverse and respected military force. The people of the Commonwealth rallied around the Minutemen. With the fighting done, the Minutemen moved towards one goal: the peaceful unification of the Commonwealth. With the Institute gone, all sins were finally once and for all free. No SRB, no coursers. They could finally live normal lives. Prejudice towards synths still lingered on for a while in the Commonwealth. Many heard tales of a synth refuge northeast, and many chose to go see it for themselves. With this, the railroad's goal was mostly completed, and they shifted on helping those freed since on achieving a stable life. As time went by, the railroad were slowly assimilated into the Minutemen, serving more and more as an intelligence agency for the Commonwealth as years went by, but never forgetting their origins. After centuries confined in a cage, being harvested by his own family, Lorenzo had finally been set free, although not by escaping Parsons, but by finally meeting his demise. His last thoughts, surprisingly, weren't just of hatred for his family, but also of relief. Lorenzo Cabot's fate had been decided. With his death, the Cabots would inevitably run out of serum and had perhaps a few more decades remaining. One day, Emma Jean would leave home, and this time, to the dismay of her mother, she would never return. After 2 centuries of use, Vault 81 finally started to fall into disrepair. And it is clear for the overseer that it was better to cut their losses and move into the outside world. They vacated and abandoned the vault, and with the help of the nearby Jianan Plaza, a settlement is formed outside the vault called Vault Town. The Brotherhood celebrated the destruction of the Institute, but not for long, for afterwards came a bittersweet realization. The Minutemen had beaten them to it. So what was the point of this expedition, of which they had sunk so many resources, planning, and manpower into? Due to this, the Brotherhood developed a strained relationship with the victorious Minutemen, despite fighting together at Quincy. With the extinction of the technology to make sense, there was also a debate forming on whether it was worth the resources to track down and kill Sense. Maxon, and the Brotherhood in general, had much to think about after such an underwhelming campaign. Being bested by a bunch of militiamen, the once unstoppable Elder now seemed fallible. And the Brotherhood once again enters a period of uncertainty not seen since the death of Sarah Lyons. As for former Paladin Dance, he remained in the Commonwealth, trying his hardest to uphold the values of the Brotherhood in the region, despite everything. He was still loyal to the Brotherhood, even if that loyalty and those ideals were waning away, slowly, or morphing into something else. After the slaughter of the raider gangs and the reactivation of the power plant, Yucca Town once again became a free trading outpost. It wasn't long till news spread around, and so it spread outwards into the other zones of the park, with communities and settlements of all kinds being established. Becoming a huge powerhouse with plenty of resources, growing in parallel with the Commonwealth, Yucca World never had any troubles with raiders ever again, although internal disputes may one day put an end to the peace in the park in the future. The Commonwealth Police Department played a significant part in lowering crime and raider activity. However, issues with jurisdictions in other settlements severely hindered those efforts, and their plans for a region-wide independent judicial system are seen skeptically in the eyes of many. With accusations of the CPD operating secretly and without permission in settlements who deny them, such as Good Neighbor, and of its leadership being unable to deal with the growing corruption within their ranks, the entire organization is going to need a lot more polish if it hopes to be seen as legitimate by the region. Through this, one way or another, gangs will survive. No matter how many are put down, they will adapt. With investment from the New Liberty Trading Company and direct endorsement from the chief, the Nightingale prospered in the region and its communities. They opened up hospitals and medical centers across the Commonwealth, becoming an essential part of the region. Soon, they start to broaden into a cultural and political movement, not necessarily contained to medicine, with the ideals of total equality, peace, diplomacy, reformation, and other encompassing ideals, which has caused abuse with the CPD, who aim for punishment, not rehabilitation. But with things only looking to get better in the Commonwealth, expansion into more remote regions were discussed, such as Far Harbor. After the departure, the tale of the mainlander earned itself a place in the hearts and minds of the people of Far Harbor. Thanks to the mainlander, the harbormen were given a chance to reclaim the island from the fog. Coincidentally, after the departure of the mainlander, the fog started to subdue, and the harbormen were quick to take advantage of this together with Acadia, who started to receive a greater influx of sins from the Commonwealth. Despite Dima's execution, Acadia's spirit remained unscathed. As for the children of Atom, inspired by the mainlander, a divide grows within the ranks of the children. The tense situation between the children and the harbormen continue, with no end in sight. Later on, a boat full of supplies would dock, courtesy of the Commonwealth. With the Institute dealt with and Dima dead, Nick was split on how to feel about it all. He owed his life to Dima, but at the same time, the things he did. Although he was glad to finally become his own man, not haunted by the ghost of his pre-war counterpart. The destruction of the Institute and the death of Dima severed any connections he had left with his own origins. Unbeknownst to Valentine, however, a ghost still lurked on the depths of his mind. With the Commonwealth rapidly changing, many groups were unable or unwilling to adapt to this new chapter. Such groups set their sights towards the glowing sea. Some of who survived the destruction of the Institute headed towards the irradiated hellscape and ended up meeting Virgil. Together, they formed a sort of mini-institute, which would forever be haunted by the shadows of their own past, now but a rudimentary fraction of what they once were. Then there were the Raiders, and the Gunners, who refused to surrender even after Quincy. They would flee to the glowing sea and establish backwater settlements, barely making ends meet. The peaceful Children of Atom sect were quick to welcome those groups, winning over a lot of them into their religion. The glowing sea quickly became the backwater of the Commonwealth, a land of outcasts. With the defeat of the Gunners and the destruction of the Institute, the dust settled in the Commonwealth, as settlements began to grow and trade with each other, creating intricate networks of supplies, defended by the Minutemen and other independent groups. And, overall, a sort of Commonwealth pride was brought about thanks to the aftermath of the Battle of Quincy. With the favorable state of the region, now, years after the massacre of the CPG, the Commonwealth once again comes together, stronger than ever, to form a regional government of the people, by the people, for the people. As representatives ranging from well-established towns such as Good Neighbor and Diamond City, to the settlements of Salem, Quincy, and Concord, and many other groups of the other organizations gather at the GNN Plaza to stand before the savior of the Commonwealth, the people of the Commonwealth held their breath, awaiting the results of the negotiations. With the Commonwealth secure, the campaign had taken a toll on the chief, and, for the first time, she got the opportunity to sit down and think about it all. That's when it dawned on her. She was the glue keeping the Commonwealth together. All those groups, all those settlements. The reason why they aren't bickering or even fighting with each other is not just some feeling of patriotism for the Commonwealth. It was her. It would be her job to keep it all from falling apart in the future. She was the unifying and leading figure of this complex and diverse system, and she had to set an example. Holly was afraid. It all depended on her, lest it falls apart. You are changing the Commonwealth permanently. The potential for upheaval is greater than ever. A complex system will always fail in complex ways. You do not have only yourself to account for. You are a stabilizing element for now, yes? But your lifespan is limited, even amidst the other uncertainties. Your death is inevitable. What will happen to this organization after you're gone?
It's all over, but the cry, and nobody's crying but me. Friends all over, no, I'm trying